Hey chat, it's Crafty Type 1, and with the rumors and leaks of a more Nintendo news happening next month, we are most definitely gonna see Splatoon Raiders. In this video, I'm gonna talk about what we might see, as well as when we're gonna get the release of Raiders. It's a lot closer than you think. But before we get into that, I am doing a $70 eShop gift card giveaway that ends at the end of this month. So make sure you comment down below and stay subscribed. In the description is a comment sheet that outlines all the valid comments for entry, as well as additional rules and regulations. Thank you guys so much for the support. We are at 19.5, so close to 20,000 subs. Thank you. And I wish you the best of luck. Honestly, all the Switch 2 games that we know of, Splatoon Raiders is kind of an anomaly because every other game was announced during the Switch 2 Direct. Kirby Air Raiders, Mario Kart World, Donkey Kong Bonanza, and then Pokemon Legends EA and Metroid are, Switch 2 editions, but also games we knew of way beforehand. Splatoon Raiders is the first game to be announced for the Switch 2 in the life of the Switch 2, if that makes sense. If you guys don't remember, 2 weeks after the launch of the Switch 2, we actually got a announcement via the Nintendo Today app that Splatoon Raiders is coming to the Switch 2. And we all kind of thought that this kind of set a precedent for the Nintendo Today app, that we'd get a lot more information from it, which we haven't. But apparently, according to Tweedle, we're going to get a lot more information from that soon. We'll have to see. But Splatoon Raiders, first game that was shown off and announced in the Switch 2's life, not before it. And pretty early as well. So what does that really mean for the release date? There's been like rumors and speculation that it got rated when in reality it didn't. But presumably it being shown off super early might mean it's coming out a lot sooner than we think. And before we get into like the overall release date topic, I do want to talk about Splatoon 3 because release dates and the release schedule on that game was fairly interesting as well. Bruh, just pulling up this trailer is a trip down memory lane, but this is the announcement that Splatoon 3 is in development. This was actually shown off in February 17th, 2021, where we got the release date of 2022. So essentially, basically a year. We didn't know exactly when. Almost a whole year later, on April 22nd, we got a full match gameplay as well as the release date being, September 9th, 2022. Meaning that from reveal to release, Splatoon 3 took about, a year and a couple months. 1 year and 6 months, a year and a half. And I believe the same similarly goes for Splatoon, which is kind of interesting. That is such a long cycle. And I do actually remember feeling like we got Splatoon 3 pretty early as well. Same feeling that we're having with Raiders. So it kind of lends to the possibility that Raiders is actually coming out in 2026. And I do think that's the case because we're kind of packed on games this year. Because right now with Hyrule Warriors, Age of Imprisonment, Kirby Air Raiders, and Metroid Prime Beyond, it kind of fills out the year pretty nicely. And right now we have the release date for Kirby Air Raiders being November 11th. And presumably Metroid Prime Beyond coming out between October and November, between Legends Z and Air Raiders. I have a whole video on that. You guys can check that out. Hyrule Warriors, though, is the only reason why I kind of think that Splatoon has a possibility of coming out this year. In this video, I actually talk about how Age of Imprisonment is coming out in this winter and not winter 2026. So this winter meaning January, February, which does seem like a pretty good release. Nintendo is known for releasing a game in early December, but I just really don't see Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment being that one. I might be wrong in saying that. I feel like they do want to have a sort of Zelda title for the Switch 2 during the holiday season. It's just a lot of things to think about. But how about instead of a Warriors game this winter, we have a Splatoon one? It honestly doesn't seem that feasible. Splatoon is primarily like a summer, spring series game because it fits that vibe. And looking at the small amount of gameplay we do have, it definitely seems more like a summer game than anything. Though that doesn't really stop Nintendo. They've been moving things around internally, like the rumors of Donkey Kong Bonanza taking over Metroid Prime 4 slot, which would make sense if Metroid Prime 4 comes out in October. But really, looking at it, September and December are really the only spots for Splatoon Raiders. And realistically, September seems way too soon. and December seems just not really a good spot for it. It is a spin-off game, so I don't know if Nintendo is like hoping it's going to get the same sales as Splatoon 3. As much as I'd want the game to sell more than Splatoon 2 and Splatoon 3 on the Switch 1, right now with the install base of the Switch 2, that being close to 6 million, and it being a spin-off game, I don't think it'll sell more than the main series games, which lends me to kind of believe that it could be a December slot. Again, my running theory is that we're going to get a Mario game in September anyways, so it really doesn't make sense for there to be a Mario and a Splatoon game in September, but there's a possibility, especially if you want to do a game in the beginning of September and a game in the end of September. You leave a 2-week gap in between the game in the end of September and October ZA, then 2 weeks into Metroid Prime Beyond, and then 2 weeks into Kirby Air Riders. That'll just be a packed holiday schedule, which honestly seems like a really crazy and kind of great marketing cycle. I might do a video on this a little later, but that honestly makes sense. Imagine Nintendo is releasing a game every 2 to 3 weeks for the holiday season, because that's where almost all the games sell, besides that short time period in summer. This is a little side tangent, but it honestly kind of seems like that's what they were doing. In June, July, we got the launch of the Switch 2 as well as Donkey Kong Bonanza, a really big game. And then August, September, we're going to get fairly smaller games, especially if they're not doing a big marketing cycle. And then closer to the holiday season, October, November, they're going to push out a bunch of games. And then in December, probably another small one like Age of Imprisonment, or nothing at all. I'm going to have to make a video on this because I just came to that realization, and that just makes a lot of sense. Personally, I do think we're going to see this game sometime in September, whether that be Nintendo Today, a General Direct, or something else, maybe even a Splatoon Raiders Focus Direct. But I don't think we're going to get the release of the game until 2026. As much as I'd love it in 2025, it just doesn't make too much sense. Let me know you guys made it this far into the video by telling me when you think the exact month that Splatoon Raiders is going to come out, whether that be in 2025 or 2026. I want to talk about Raiders a lot more. I think I have a few videos out on the channel, but nothing too crazy. I kind of want to do more speculative stuff. Still want it to be a Monster Hunter-like multiplayer mode, even if multiplayer could be in the game. But yeah, other topics, other time. Anyways, I'm Crafty Type 1. Thank you, Jesus and Evan, for being channel members, and I will see you tomorrow. Goodbye.